All right, so I managed to get it to connect back again. I didn't want to connect it during the whole biking escapade. Had to go over cattle guard. Meant that kind of needed to stop the recording anyways and get it all figured out. Get over the cattle guard crossing on the bike, as the poor dog is freaked every time I use my trailer. I have to cover her up on the trailer um, for the bike, and I don't like it either. It has holes, he's got holes. It's fine, but it's like, God, I want a fucking basic ass bitch car or something. My parents don't even let me use their truck because apparently I'm so irresponsible. Can't even go on their insurance or anything. So it's like, okay, sure, not, but whatever. you know. So moving on to see here, it's recapturing a lot of the energy for the turbine. That being said, it's kind of not. Like it hits a zenith point of heat. You know what I mean? Like you don't get a recapture of the heat so far, and flow rate, while improved, and which of course, generally speaking, reduces parasitic loss to the compression area. You know what I mean? Because it then makes it so that way it's like less pressure it has to push into that. Thus makes flow rate easier, which means the compression's a little easier. You get the picture on that side. Then it means that like that energy, well, let's say we captured maybe 15%. Fuck it. Let's do standard 30% rules apply turbine stuff. Like standard 30%, 35, whatever it is. And it's like, okay, so taking from that 30%, we're going to dump that plus all the other heat, captured from the, other turbines on the fan blade array for the air cooling. And then that's about it. That's all I got. Besides, like the, crankshaft kind of style of a, distributor, I suppose, or alternator, or whatever it could be, kind of thing. See here, that's going to be pretty solid, decent amount of electricity increased. So let's say from that heat, we're gaining from that electricity maybe 40% of it, 40% roughly, 40% is small micro turbines, fairly high pressure, continued to go, and blah, blah, blah. You get the picture. So, like, 40%, we'll go 40% from that heat energy from the hydraulic fluid recaptured into electricity. Okay. And that's on the remainder after it went into the exhaust axle combo and the intake, intake, exhaust, all that stuff. Yeah, right, yeah. So it's like, all right, so we'll take that, and then recapture that as heat energy, flow rate improvement, parasitic loss decreases, work energy effectively, the standard work energy stuff. We do that. So we do that, then we'll end up going with, because like I'm going to be able to capture back 40%, but like let's say that front and rear turbine kind of thing, add in solid combined 60% of that heat. All right, no, fuck it, not 60. 50. Go with 50%. And that's because of the heat, and the recapture of the heat, and the pressure. And so heat and pressure are both very well maintained and recaptured. So we got 50%. And the 40% after that 50%, which again, these are all small numbers. After, like say we're at 100 units of energy, you do your whole from there and then subtract, and from there and subtract, and so on, so on, so on. So, there's only so much you can get from that, but we got a decent amount, So we're going to say that's a solid 1 kilowatt. Why not? 1 kilowatt of energy from that. Well, we're going to spend that 1 kilowatt into making plasmification really efficiently. And so at first it might start off where we're going 999 kilowatts. I mean, or watts, not kilowatts, to make the plasma, right? And we're going to spend a lot of energy to get there. Fucking geez, right? It's not really. I mean, we're much more efficient than that, truthfully. But like, let's say we were somehow. Actually, truthfully, we're not. But like, we're gonna dump it into making plasma at first, really, really quickly, like super, super quickly. We're just like extra hardcore amped currents, all the excitation with whatever we can do, right? And then it's like, then we're gonna drop that off from the start of plasma. It makes it a lot easier to maintain the plasma, continuing. And so we're gonna start that 1 kilowatt, and like to start the plasma, then we're gonna spend still 100% of this to continue maintaining the plasma, but really just making improvements to our intake, reduction of, parasitic loss for compression, and heat recapture for the exhaust turbine, fluid thing, and then the further than that as well. We're going to go with that, right? The heat turbine intake kind of place in the front. Yeah. Thank you. And then the recapture to that as electricity, and the exhaust for the heat at the very end. So, like, there's a point where the hydraulic fluid will not take more heat. So we're really needing to make sure it improves flow rates for sure, and it gets basically captured as it crashes out in an exothermic capacity into pressure in the exhaust area, which then improves our flame blade wind vacuum design, which then also then give us that. And you see the maintaining of the, so to speak, going on for like how it will hit a point where I can't get more. There's no more. The heat's done. You packed as much heat as you can into the fluid. Packed as much heat as you can, into the capture for the exhaust. So, now it's time to turn it into heat dumpage into the front, the intake area. With standard, resistive radiator rules apply. Tube and pressure allow that goes through a radiator, tries to heat it up, and then same thing with into the body radiator style heat sequence sort of setup, which will be able to then recapture some of that heat to workable, and then electricity from the fan. And so tries to recycle. Then the point, of course, where that can no longer be done any further. And so now we're at like low 90% probably degrees of efficiency for the engine, with a decent measurable degree of electricity converted to kinetic, meaning potential energy to kinetic energy conversion, like an electric motor, except heat and pressure just being done at the right times to make it more efficient, because otherwise it wouldn't be very efficient. I mean, you just do a steam engine at that point. It's effectively what we're doing. From being honest, it's not much difference with hydraulic fluid now. It's just adding more heat to the steam part. Not necessarily a bad thing, just not necessarily like the most incredible new innovative design. Although I say that, and it's like no one's ever built this thing, so. And this definitely seems like it'd be very innovative and advanced and all that rest of that shit. Genius, blah, 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 so on and so forth, but it's just a steam engine add-on, more or less turbine thing. Then I'm like poo-pooing on my own design. I need to stop that. It's actually a really good design. It's 94% efficient. Or let's pull that number out of my butt. But I wouldn't doubt it's between the 90 and 95% range. If it's above, I'm pretty sure I could just use that IR admittance, from the tube, if not the Stirling, catalytic converter process to electricity, whatever is left over. Just turn that into an electrical motor design, I suppose, or generator, and can't really add more heat into the system to workable, so might as well just go direct. The only reason why I'm like, well, you're converting it so much, for myself, really, because that's kind of what you're doing. It comes down to steam. You're converting heat, electrical energy into steam potential into the engine, and it's because it's all one package, compact kind of thing. That makes it a little easier. It tends to stay, kind of a little more compact. I have to add a bunch of freaking copper wires and my charge and electromagnetic field, motor designs into it. Totally doable, by the way. If anything, I can probably just put that into the fan blade area to a point, you know what I mean? Or the tube or all of that. Really, it's probably a good idea to dump that in there, whatever residual in there. Now I've got the steam, now I've got the electric motor, now I've got everything I think I can reasonably get, the whole design. Sterling's well, unfortunately, direct line sauce kind of style, motion, truthfully. It's it's a linear design. I have to make it spin and do something, so the pumping, then the motor, the hydraulic fluid, more efficient. I don't know. Truthfully, I don't think. For a capture of energy, mass needs to move, parasitic loss, boundary layer stuff has to be added in, and mass, stuff like that. So you have to do a lot of stuff and physics, material design stuff, or I suppose that kind of thing. But I can always capture a lot less resistance or a lot less things kind of being a nuisance and needing to be really, really finessed. And it's just a simple charge field. Electromagnetic motor design really could make some copper cables or a MOSFET style cable or field effect style cable design. So but then it's we have to impart that into the it's a generator. Any alternator is a generator, as we all know, and any alternator is also an electric motor, and I think a lot of us also do know that too. I think we do it, with that sucker. Once the heat gets going, and besides, that's also our starter motor right there. If I do it that way with the batteries we've got, then I've got a way to start the damn thing. Hey, I finally got there. I got to the starter. I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm super distracted. I got to get to this starter motor. And fuck, I finally got there. Well, what do you know? There's your starter motor right there. It's almost like I planned it in the past with the program. That's a fair point, though, I did, if you want to know. I knew where I was going. I was telling people to shut the fuck up and getting angry as hell all the time. But did eventually let me get there. Alrighty. So let's do this real fast. I gotcha, Phaser. All right, we're here. All right, bye.